Well, a very good morning, everybody, for Saturday, the 26th of June, for the club flying briefing here at Lasham. This is not to be confused with the competition briefing, which will be happening in just under an hour's time. Well, what have we got? Well, a reasonable first day for the competition, but front's not too far away, and it's sort of swirling around at the moment, which is going to cause us problems, especially sort of later into the day, a slightly earlier cut-off than we would like. But overnight, sort of fairly clear, nothing too much in the way of cloud. There is a bit of sort of build-up at the moment, but as we go into later, that front starts to sort of swirl around from France, and it will clip the edge of us, probably weakening the soaring conditions later this afternoon. With that, we've got a slack sort of easterly flow across the UK at the moment, and yeah, we're going to see that probably for a little while. A bit more frontal tomorrow, and I'll look at that. It's competitions, who would have guessed? So, but for today anyway, we should get a reasonable sort of 3/4 of a day out of it. Those winds, as I was saying, are generally easterly across the country, sort of seeing between a tad of northeast to due east, sort of 10 to 15 knots. And looking at the public forecast, you can see that at the moment, maybe even becoming southeasterly as we may pick up some sea air influence. The satellite picture at the moment shows that we're probably actually in the best area across the sort of England at the moment, other than if you're in sort of the Cheshire Gap or Manchester way. Very moist over sort of Birmingham that way. That area got a huge amount of rain last night, with some very intense thunderstorms indeed that went through there. But over the sort of south area, we're just starting to clear up a bit. There are some large cumulus, but hopefully that will start to rise up, and we should get a flyable base in the not too distant future. Top temperature today of around 20 to 21 degrees, and that is probably about what the Met Office say. Met Office is always a couple of degrees lower than the global forecasting system. And dew points just hovering around the double figures, maybe even drop to single figures if we're lucky, but I imagine about 10. That's the picture outside, as I said, with some rather large cumulus at the moment. And at Lasham, we currently have a temperature of 16 and a dew point of about 11. And you can see that as we go into cloud shadow, the temperature is sort of peaking a little bit, but it will continue to rise a little bit further, and hopefully the dew point will drop soon. Top Meteo is predicting today that is the usable task area, generally keeping away from windward coasts and not going too much into the Midlands, so out towards sort of the sort of west of Fairford into Cirencester, maybe across to Oxford, but sort of a line sort of just running north of Oxford. Yeah, unless you're going up into Cambridgeshire, not particularly good. Somewhat reasonable to our east, typical airspace again, and also down to the far east. But of course, we do have some airspace there at the moment due to an air show. So yeah, it's not ideal and not very good for southwest. So a fairly constrained task area, but good in that area. If we look at yeah, sort of 10 o'clock, not saurable yet. 11:30, I imagine we will be getting to a stage where a grid launch is possible from the competition. And to our south, it may start to blow out fairly quickly, as that sort of a warm front is not sat too far away and introducing maybe some upper cloud as well. Heights above us though with cumulus is probably about 4,000 feet or so. Yeah, it goes blue, it says on here. Sort of over us, it stays about 4,000 feet, maybe even 4,500 feet, but a reasonable part of the day to about 3 o'clock. Out towards sort of Cirencester, Aston, down Oxfordshire, you'll see that might even hit 5,000 to 5,500 feet in certain places. But look, just north of Oxford gets very low indeed. Not ideal. And then you'll see the cutoff. You'll see some sort of sea air effect in from the coast. Certainly by 5 o'clock, I think we're going to be well on the edge of that. And by 6 o'clock, it may well be unsoarable in the local vicinity of Lasham. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Temperatures will be dropping. And if we look at the site forecast for that, we can see that those temperatures will start to come down from 20 degrees fairly shortly after lunch. And look at that by by sort of 7 o'clock, it's really dropping, and the sun is still up. Yeah, not quite what we want. Looking at meters. So at the moment, scattered at 1200. Again, just scattered 3.5 later, and the risk of some rain showers, and maybe. I think that's hopefully fairly unlikely. Soundings to our north, well, this is Buckingham at 2 o'clock, showing about sort of 5,000 feet with maybe a little bit too much cumulus in certain places. And that's a temperature of about 21 degrees. Fairford, fairly similar, the line's touching actually. So yeah, you can just see that the division line between the good and slightly more moist weather is not too far away. So plan your tasks wisely. NOTAM, well, obviously we're hosting a competition today. I'll go into the specifics of that later. Chiltern Park, active. Please do not cause me any problems there. 22 and 21. That's okay. Air display at Remenham in Berkshire for quite a lot of this afternoon. That is, I think, out 22, I think that was. No, 21. Let's have a look. 21, 21, yep, okay. So that's probably just actually within the lower bit of airspace. But yeah, just be aware of transiting traffic. Lots of paraglider NOTAMs. 29, major gliding competition at Bidford. Hey, look at that, very good. So yeah, Bidford's busy too, so we might see some of them. Salisbury Plain danger areas, sort of as usual, a bit tricky. Solent active all day, as is Farnborough. Number 10, Headcorn, Lasham, often gets confused with here. 8 till 6, there's a restricted area temporary. Do check the AICs. That's up to 3,500 feet. No red arrows display today. We'll come on to what the red arrows are up to in a moment. But yeah, red arrow, there is an air display there. So please do make sure that you give that a wide berth and check that out if you're headed down in that direction. 16. That's another one of these equestrian events that's not really relevant. 26, that's probably the opening hours of, oh no, we've got a fly past at Gloucester today. Look, it's all coming out today. 1:35 through till 2:40, fly past. Could be Battlebridge Memorial flight, I'm not sure of that one. 28. Again, fly past at Banbury and Letchworth Garden City at Hertford, Hertfordshire. So yeah, those are. We'll just check those times again. Yeah, that's sort of lunchtime-ish. So I reckon that's the BBMF. Okay, that's going to be too far north for most of you. Number 7, parachute display at Eastbourne between 10:30 and 11:30. I assume that's centered over the town there and up to flight level 120. So a number of NOTAMs today, as well as that, the Red Arrows, as it's Armed Forces Day, are headed from Farnborough, where they're currently based, up to the National Arboretum and into Scampton for tea and medals. So they'll be up there today, and with that they will be passing to our south, and I'm just looking at Sky Demon here at 11:31, the vicinity of 4 marks. I imagine they'll be on the radio, and yeah, passing Farnborough at 11:27, and they'll be going up sort of just sort of west of Fairford, and then up past Tur West and up east of East Midlands into Scampton. So do give that a note. And we'll probably see them and hear them on the radio frequency. And they'll be back tomorrow, but we're not going to see too much of them close tomorrow. And I believe the competition officials are in contact. Task area for the comps is sort of out to the northwest and into sort of south of the that line of bad air. A bit more detail to come on that shortly. Okay, so we are in competitions. So there is no winching, and there'll be some reduced price aerotows for club members. Our launch points will be sort of just to the west of the fuel pumps, and there is already a reasonable grid forming on that side. For club flying, if you're wishing to launch before the main grid or the club grid, please pull out in front of the grid, but you may be asked to move at any time if we do decide to launch the club grid, the main grid, sorry, main grid. And there are the competitors are getting texts, as are the staff here, on when that's going to happen. Please note, when we do launch the comp grid, we're going to have a lot of tugs. It's going to happen very quickly. What that does mean is that we will be monitoring airspace saturation, because as you know, with the comp grids, this means that the gliders have to hang around and wait for the start line to open. So please do not expect us to stream launch the club grid. We are not going to put 150 gliders into the overhead of Lasham. That is not what we're here to do. This is the first comp that we are running with the airspace. So please give some patience with this. We will get you launched as soon as we can when it is safe. So yes, if you're not too sure when you're going to launch, just stick it in the grid. That's the best place to be. But yes, we'll have the grids and some club flying just in front. We will not be going back on the runway at any stage. All club flying, as best as possible, should be doing left-hand circuits on 09 today. That is the runway in use. There are no jet movements because it's competitions. They are prohibited during our period. And when it comes to the end of the competition day and the gliders start coming back, launching will be suspended again due to the amount of gliders coming back, and they'll be coming back generally on the runway or to the south, hopefully in a 09 direction. So yes, please keep that in mind. Read the local rules of the competition if that may help. But yes, please form a grid there and keep it nice and tight. And yeah, we'll try and get as much club flying done as we can around the comp. So good. Okay, I think that's enough of me droning on about that sort of stuff. The actual main competition brief will be generally for competitors only, though we will put it on YouTube afterwards, just like this one. That will be done in a much more formal setup, not with me. I'm safety officer for this competition. It's Henry Freeborn. He's directing, and Colin Watt is Metman for this comp. So, and Graham Garnett is the grid marshal. So yeah, there's a big team running this one, but we'll make sure the club flying does not suffer too much. But yeah, do keep a good lookout today. It's going to be very busy up there. But welcome to the 2021 competitions. It's great to have it back. Bye for now.